Hello and welcome to my 20-something lost all count video of myself playing Spelunky's Daily Challenge, where probably no one's done it again today because no one does them anymore. There you go, so it's just me by myself playing Spelunky alone in the darkness, which is a metaphor for something. This video, I don't know, this is going to be interesting. First of all, I'm using a new microphone, which is probably why you can hear the keyboard tapping away, but hopefully there won't be any hiss, so that'll be nice, won't it? Maybe, possibly. I'm doing a whole series on things that are ideas or inspirations, and I don't want to teleport to their bad news. This might be a particularly personal video, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. A particularly personal discussion. What I'm doing this time is no need to go up there, that was silly. I'm going to talk about one of the most influential people in my life, who's someone I've never met and I don't necessarily actually know a huge amount about compared to some of the other people I've talked about in these videos. But they are pretty much a hero or a role model of mine, and that's a bit weird for me because I kind of accept that people are three-dimensional, and I'm often quite interested in people who aren't perfect, and you know, I appreciate that there may be things about some people that, you know, I mean, they have good and bad sides or good and bad qualities, and I did a video a while ago on Thomas Jefferson, and I would have loved to get in a time machine and meet Thomas Jefferson because I think there would be a lot about him that would be interesting, and there would be probably things I disagree with. But this is someone who I don't necessarily feel that way about. They are just a hero of mine and someone who's probably had a very, very big influence on my life. And you probably already read the title. That person's Roger Taylor, who's a dark level. This is horrible. Who's a musician. Roger Taylor is most famous for being the drummer in the band Queen, and I've talked about Queen before, as I'm sure you know. I did a video a while ago on Freddie Mercury. Okay, probably going to blow that thing up, but what a shame. I have at least got my sticky bombs. Queen have been and still are my favourite band after quite a long time, and Roger Taylor has just been one of my favourite people for kind of all my life. I have to try and get across why, and also, I don't know, this, oops, that was close. Maybe the mood I'm just in today, or the mood I'm in lately, this might end up being actually a bit more personal and a bit more about me, or about things that I very much care about. Well, see, I don't know where I'm going today with this topic, and I never do, because I don't write any notes down or anything before I dive into these. But I don't know, I can't articulate it, I just have a feeling. Isn't that weird? That's weird. Roger Taylor's from King's Lynn in Norfolk, I could certainly tell you that. And I think he was born in 1947, and I'll be pretty chuffed if that turns out to be correct, which I think it might be, because I know stuff. And Roger Taylor is a founding member of Queen, and when I say founding member, yeah, can't get back up if I get that. I don't think that's worth actually getting. That's worth getting. When I say founding member, oops, Queen are four people, or were four people. Originally Brian May and Roger Taylor met while at university and formed a different band called Smile with a guy called Tim Staffel who played bass, while Roger played the drums, Brian played guitar. And Smile released an album and a single and didn't really do very well, and I think we're going to pack things in. But Roger Taylor, if I'm correct, he both lived with and he ran a market stall with a guy called Farouk Bulsara, or people called him Freddie Bulsara, which was Freddie Mercury before he gave himself a stage name. And Freddie Mercury said, well, no, you and Brian should actually stick together and you should keep making music. And I don't fully remember if he actually initially just said you should hire me, or if they ended up working with him. But it was apparently Freddie's motivation that encouraged the two to stick together and to keep... Ooh! I'm not going to try for that again. And to keep making music. And perhaps they would have done that anyway. But I think he had an influence there that was probably an important one at that time. And we're talking a period of about 1969 at this point, I think. And Queen formed in 1970 with a different bass player and went through a couple of bass players before John Deacon joined. I think John Deacon actually saw Queen play as a band before he joined them. Oh, drat. Oh, this isn't... Oh, dear. Well, there's a dog up there, so that's good. Dogs are good. And I want to do that because, yep, I just want to do that. Just be wise. Ooh. Brian May was studying something to do with physics and astronomy. I forget exactly what it was called. And Roger Taylor was studying biology with the I think... Oops, I thought he was going to get killed. Right, well this is a problem. Immediately this is what we in the industry call a difficulty. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. So, how can I get the... I really need to get the shotgun off this guy. Quite frankly. See if I can drop bombs on him. Yeah, I think the idea was that he was thinking of being a dentist. Where that idea came from, I couldn't tell you. I could tell you he'd been in a bunch of bands before going to university. And he was quite an accomplished drummer who knew what he was doing. He'd sung in some of the bands that he'd been in. And at some point, he... Dangerous game. The most dangerous game. He started playing guitar as well. And this is the thing about Roger Taylor. He, though he's known as a drummer, and obviously he's visible in Queen as a drummer, he does sing, he does play the guitar, he does play bass, he does play the keyboards or the piano. To all of them, I think, to sort of different degrees. He's clearly a drummer and he's a very skilled drummer. But he's always been a multi-instrumental guy, and that's how he's been able to compose some of the songs he's composed that have been big hits. And that includes A Kind of Magic and Radio Gaga, which apparently when he wrote it he said he didn't know what the chords were on keyboard, he was just playing chords. These Are the Days of Our Lives is a song really mainly written by him, even though it's credited to Queen. Apparently One Vision as well, and before Under Pressure was called Under Pressure, I think it was a work in progress thing called People on the Streets. And that of course was the song that Queen did with David Bowie, which was a massive hit because if you have two artists who are very big and you release a record, kind of everybody is going to buy it. It doesn't actually need to be very good. Fortunately it was very good, so you know, that's a bonus. What am I talking about? And here's, I don't know, here's the thing. I'm just hoping the guy's going to go in the other direction and he's not doing it and I'm wasting bombs. So let's do that. The thing with dropping bombs on guys from above is you kind of have to see if you can anticipate what they're going to do. That is rubbish. Or we can ignore this and just do that. I'm having a terrible time. I'm really out of practice. Where was I? Has that killed him? I don't care if it's killed the other dude, because the other dude is just trouble, and the other dude will pick up a shotgun and will get me killed. And I'm not kidding. That's happened to me a number of times. So nervous. I'm so nervous about everything in this game. And I never used to be. It's age. It's age and the fact that I'm... Oh my god! Oh my god! Will you shoot the fish? And the dude. And there was no reason to do any of that. There's no reason to come over here. Roger Taylor! Yes, certainly is quite a songwriter as well. And outside of Queen he's released a bunch of solo material. And think his songwriting heroes include John Lennon and Bob Dylan. And so here's a thing. Queen have never been a very political band, or I don't think sort of overtly political as far as I can tell. And I don't really know where they lie on the spectrum of sort of who they are and what they believe. I guess Brian May's been tweeting a lot lately. Both Brian May and Roger Taylor on Twitter. Brian May's been tweeting a lot about how he used to love the Conservative Party and now very much dislikes it. And he's disappointed in what's happened to the National Health Service and conservation causes and such things. And it's fairly clear what Brian May feels nowadays. But Queen, yeah, didn't really have an overt political position the way that some bands do. But in his solo material, Roger Taylor kind of quite blatantly does, and he actually, and this is a really interesting thing to me, it feels almost as if when he does his solo material, he actually first has a concept for a song and then he tries to write a song afterwards. Roger's been doing solo stuff since about 1980 or 1981, and his first album, which is Fun in Space, is possibly the best. And I don't know if I'm a massive fan of his solo stuff, to be honest. Some of it I've liked more than others. But it feels certainly like sometimes there's an issue he wants to address or something he wants to talk about. And that becomes actually more of the focus of what he's doing than the actual song. Than writing a good piece of music. And I feel really bad saying that. But in the style of people like Dylan and Lennon, who I think are pretty big heroes of his, he wants to say stuff with some of his music, and things that he's written songs about and talked about include domestic violence, include how much he hates Rupert Murdoch and disapproves of Murdoch's behaviour and philosophy. Some of his ideas about religion. He's not really a very big fan of organised religion, it sounds like. And I can get back up here, right? Yes, good. And there was another one I was going to say, I can't remember what it was. But he, as far as I can tell, he certainly expresses feminist ideas in what he writes about. He seems to be this left-leaning fellow in some ways. I don't know, obviously politics is complex and you can't always just say you're on one side or another. But he's quite blatant and he's quite unequivocal in what he says. He doesn't sort of mess around with saying what his feelings are in his music, and it's even more blatant than some songs. Oh yeah, there's also a song called My Country on Fun in Space, on his first solo album, where he talks about how he feels about serving in a war, how he wouldn't serve in a war, and how he thinks the idea is just foolish to die for a country or to die for someone else. And I was quite amazed when I first started collecting a lot of the records that I did, buying the stuff that I did, or occasionally getting it as presents, Christmas, birthdays and things. When I started getting the solo stuff and some of the things that Queen had done, I was quite surprised how different it was and how much more personal it was. I don't know so much about Freddie Mercury in that case. I think quite a lot of Freddie's stuff was primarily to sing songs about things. But definitely with Roger had stuff he wanted to say in music, and I think he was oh blimey, he was very inspired by other people who had things to say, and I think he feels that that's part of what you do with music. Or maybe it's part of what you do as a musician. And there was a moment where he quite a few years ago now, like 2001 or something, he donated a bunch of money to I think Manchester United supporters to help them. Oops! No! Oh dear! Donated a bunch of money to... I couldn't get up the ladder. I had a problem with... You can probably hear me hammering away at the keys. Manchester United supporters, to support them in kind of a bid or a movement against other people who are trying to buy or take over the club, against a sort of a big business interest. I can't remember all the details, but he just said he felt it was the right thing to do to support the people in that case. I used to have... I'm going to be top of the leaderboard because no one else has done it. That's quite good, top 100, even though I was reckless and foolish. I used to have a bunch of Queen stuff on VHS. I probably still do, actually, because I've moved it from house to house, even though I can't watch it. And there's some live Queen stuff that I've worn thin from playing the tapes over and over again when I was like 13 or 14 years old, watching Roger Taylor do things on the drums. I'm quite a visual person with playing the drums. I've been playing the drums since I was 13. I haven't played the drums now for 3 years because my drum kit is kind of missing in action because of complications. London moving complications, which are kind of ridiculous and I won't go into. But if I hadn't come across Queen, and particularly if I hadn't come across Roger Taylor, I don't know how much I would have come across the concept of people writing songs overtly about how they feel. I don't know how much I would... quite just blatantly, to the point of it's almost like the song is just a vehicle for someone saying, don't mistreat women. Like the song is an afterthought. Like you don't even care if the tune is any good. I don't know when I would have come across that concept or how. I don't know if I would have ever started playing the drums, and so I don't know if I would have been in bands, so I don't know if I would have ever been on stage performing, which I've done quite a lot of times, which means I don't know if I'd ever be accustomed to being in front of an audience on stage performing, which means I don't know if I would ever also have picked up the guitar and decided to start playing that. And I don't know if I would have had all the musical influences and all the life influences that I would have had. And I don't know how much of a person I would be if you actually took... It's like if you're doing algebra or something and you take Roger Taylor out of an equation and he's so many steps down in the working. I don't know what a person I would be if that happened. And I don't know, I suppose a lot of things would be very, very similar. When I was 14 in 1994, I was at an air show and I was watching some planes fly around in a public area where you drive up and you park your car near the runway and you watch things. And there was a guy who looked a lot like Roger Taylor, who sounded a lot like Roger Taylor, who was dressed the way that Roger Taylor would be, with sunglasses the way that Roger Taylor would, and has the husky Roger Taylor voice that you wouldn't believe actually created the Bohemian Rhapsody Galileo falsetto, but it did. And he was with a lady who looked like the lady that Roger Taylor was with at the time, and I hung around very near him for a while and did nothing because I was next to the person who then I thought was a total hero and now I still actually think is amazing. I did nothing about it, and it may not have been him, but if it wasn't him, it was a guy who was incredibly good at doing a lot of things like him, who was interested in what he was interested in, looked exactly like him and behaved like him, and had a nice car. And since then I vowed that if there was ever an opportunity like that where I bumped into someone, I had an opportunity to grab something, you know, a moment that might pass, I would take that moment. And I generally have since then, and that's got me into all kinds of trouble, but it's actually caused amazing things to happen and caused me to meet some quite astonishingly cool people from having the confidence to approach them and speak to them. And that's about it. I know you're just looking at High School Board, and I'm so sorry, and I hope you enjoy listening to me talking in videos about things and occasionally playing Spelunky with moderate ability, because I'll talk a very little bit more and just say that the whole point of this video and what I wanted to get onto, if I lasted long enough, was probably the best things we can do in our lives to be Roger Taylor and to leave things behind us that inspire other people and reach towards other people that we might never meet and that we might never know and that we might never have anything to do with. Or they may, you know, stand next to us in a parking area and look at us and be too scared to speak to us. And that would be a terrible shame, I suppose. But if you have an impact upon a person, and if you inspire someone to do things and to reach for positive things and to want to achieve in their life, I think you're doing something pretty awesome. And as far as I'm concerned, you could be a teacher, or you could be a police officer, or you could be someone telling jokes in a pub. You know, it's okay. It's to bring something into the world from out of yourself. I think that's probably the best thing you can do. Just so happens that Roger Taylor has done so much of that. This bit is going to get really weird now. I've had a weird week or two, so this is why I'm so particularly philosophical. What I'm going to do for the next video, probably, unless I massively chicken out, is I'm going to tell you a personal story from when I was a kid, because this is ideas and inspirations, and it's going to be about someone who, from that same kind of age, actually, when I first got into Roger Taylor, but someone who I ran into when I was 14 who was a really big deal to me. But I'm going to close now with a lovely piece of music that I wrote on... What am I doing? On guitar. And the reason for this is I compose little bits of music all the time and never do anything with them. I don't know what to do with this. If there is anything you can do with this piece of music, if you have a tune or lyrics or something for it, take it away and do something with it, because I can't write melodies, I can't sing, I can barely play guitar and drums sometimes. So I'm going to rip off my headphones, because I don't need those to listen to Spelunky, because, you know, we're on a menu, and I'm going to play about 6 chords. Here we go. This is, if you can do anything with this, then do. That's basically like a C chord with an extra G in, and sort of a G with a bit of melody that goes down, and an A minor, and an F, and a G, and a C that goes to a C add 9 or something. I have to say that because I would forget them myself. Thanks for watching a video that is this long and this indulgent, and hopefully the next one will be even more indulgent and personal. I've got loads of comments and messages from people, by the way. I've lost access to my inbox. I don't know how to get back to my inbox. But thank you to everyone who's written and commented and said nice things, because I've done this largely for fun and for myself. And people are just turning up and responding, so thanks. I'd better go now, because this is ridiculous and too long. Thanks. Bye.